Hi everyone. Hello. Good afternoon everyone. Just give me a few more minutes, yeah? Hi everyone, if you can hear me clearly, can you drop me a comment? Sound testing, sound testing. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? Okay, thank you. Good evening everyone. All right, thank you for your comments. You can hear me. Let me give it another 2 minutes, then I'll start. Okay. Before I start, I also would like to check how is the population of the audience. So if you are a student, can you type student at the comment, or can let me know if you're a student or a worker, employee, or employer. So I can adjust my examples that I use later. Okay, I see some students, a lot of students. Okay, so let's start. Okay, the others can join in later on. Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, thank you for taking your time to join this webinar. Okay, my name is Pearly, and I'm a licensed and registered counselor in Malaysia. Okay, so today I just going to share a bit about conflict resolution. Before that, so throughout the webinar, if you have any questions, please put it down in the comment section, because I will on and off will go into the comment section and look at it. Okay, and okay, you will find me throughout the session. You will find me silent for a few seconds. Okay, don't worry about it. Your video didn't get hang. It's just me trying to switch my desktop. Okay, to switch screen, because I cannot open all screen at the same time. Okay, so bear with me with a few seconds. Okay, let's go into it. Okay. Now, this is what I'm going to do today. Okay, first I will go telling you what is conflict, and then I will go into what causes conflict, conflict resolution styles. Now I will go very quickly and briefly through these three. I will spend a lot of time talking about the strategies that you can use to help you to use conflict resolution more effectively. Okay, and then I will spend a little time on Q&A session in the end. After that, I will do a closing and wrap up the session. Okay. All right, so let's see what is conflict. By the formal definition, conflict is the incompatibility of goals or values between two or more parties in a relationship. Okay, in a simpler form, it means that two parties, they have a disagreement. Okay, they disagree. Maybe it could be different goals. You have different values. You have different objectives. Okay, so now it doesn't really matter that conflict is good or bad. Okay, it's important here to uh, to see how you think about conflict. Okay, it's important to see how you think about conflict and how you handle the conflict. That's the two important thing here. All right. Let's move on. Now, how we should think about conflict. If you think about conflict negatively, if you think it is a negative thing and it's something to be avoided, we have set ourselves up to fail. Okay, you put a stop sign in front of you even before you try. Okay, you stop yourself from trying. If you're thinking conflict, it's something, it's a motivation for change, or it's a opportunity for growth, then we can alter the entire nature and possible outcome. Okay, what it means is that you create a opportunity for yourself. Okay, you give yourself a chance to try. Okay, to try to deal with the conflict. All right. Okay, if anyone doesn't understand anything, you can also drop under the comment section, because I can see them and I can reply you as soon as possible. Okay. Now we go into the causes of conflict. Now this is the wheel of conflict. I plucked this from a book. I find it is easy to understand, and it's easy to understand and it is quite true. So I share this with you all. Now this author suggests that people involved in conflict because of their needs. Okay, either it is they think throughout the conflict process they have met their needs, or they think that the other person and their needs are incompatible. Okay, so now what are the needs? It's the 5 needs around it. Okay, now first one, let's go into them one by one. The first one is communication. Okay, miscommunication is something that it's so common in conflict. Okay, why is that so? Because in communication there is a lot of components. Okay, what component do we have? We have like the choices of word that you use, the choices of words that you use, your tone of speaking, and then your body language or your eye contact, all the non-verbal stuff. There's so many things that have to combine together, okay, in order for the other person can identify what you are trying to express. Okay, there's so many components. That's why it's so easy for people to misidentify or misanalyze what you're trying to say. Therefore, miscommunication is very easy to happen. Therefore, it's a very common thing, okay, in conflict. Now, let's see emotions. Emotion is the energy for conflict. Okay, it helps conflict to move forward. Okay, why is that so? Because now when I'm not stable, then I cannot think properly. Then I might do a lot of mistake. I will make a lot of wrong decisions. That's why, okay, that's why all this wrong decision and mistake, it contribute to more complicated conflict. The conflict worsen. Okay, so that's the reason why emotion is included in one of the most common causes of conflict. Okay, Now the third one is the history. Okay, the history we are referring to the past experiences. Okay, so it could be the past experiences of the individual. For example, in the past, that person have experienced a conflict. Okay, and now the similar thing came up. Okay, when the similar thing came up, humans by nature they will follow the pattern if we are not aware of it. So similar thing will happen again. So it's easy to bring into conflict again and again. Same goes to people who work in team. For example, I'm working in team. I'm having this group assignments. Okay, so if you guys have two group assignments, maybe 1 month ago and now, okay, conflict happens when there is a lot of misassumption and biases. Now, you guys already have conflict 1 month ago. Now you guys have a new assignment, new group assignment, and you're together again. And then there's a lot of assumption and biases. Even before you start doing something, that the other person pointing at you say that, oh, it must be your fault, or you do this wrongly. But the thing is that you haven't even really like start doing things, or you're not doing anything. People already pointing at you. So there's all these assumptions and biases from the past can affect the conflict now. It will worsen the conflict now. Okay, that's for history. Now, we are looking at structure. Structure is slightly more complicated here. Now, that's two parts. The first part is the relationship. It's your conflict happens between a peer-to-peer relationship. It means that is it you or a student and a student conflict, or is it a student and a lecturer conflict? Okay, if the relationship involves a higher authority, or what we normally say as power authority, the other person has higher power. Okay, in this case, the power plays a role in causing conflict. All right, and the second part of the structure is that the part it's about resources, allocation of resources. Do we have time? Okay, do we have time to solve this issue? Okay, that's one part of it. And allocation of structure. Does everyone in the group has the same access to the data or information they need? Okay. For example, if you're doing a group assignment, do everyone have equal information? Or do everyone have access to Google? Or do everyone have access to maybe that lecture slides? Okay, so all of this will, if one have, one don't have, then it will cause a conflict to happen. Okay, that's for structure. Now we look at values. Okay, I believe that everyone's do things differently. Okay, we have different values and different ones. So when when everyone wants to do things differently, and if they want to do it their way, conflict can arise easily. Okay, when there is a complete difference in values. Now, these are the most common 5 causes of conflict. Also, just to add on a little bit more, there is 3 more general factors. Okay, these 3 general factors are culture, power, and data. Okay, okay, for culture, culture affects a lot of our communication style, our living style, our belief, and a lot of our stereotypes and assumption and so on. So all this different thing, when you're dealing people with in different culture, okay, conflict easily arise because everything is so different. You think this is polite, but the other people think it might be rude. So therefore, there is a conflict there. Okay, that's the culture. The power. Okay, power here. That's 2 powers. I've already mentioned one in structure. Okay, which is the power relationship that causes conflict, and the second one is more about personal style, more about personality. Okay, so if the person naturally likes to control things, likes to dominate things, okay, then it might somehow causes conflict to happen with or without the person knowing, because it's so natural for the person to control, to dominate. Okay, the person might not know. Okay, so that's for power. And for data, so data is about how we handle the data. Okay, if we don't handle it properly or more appropriately, uh, the conflict will actually worsen. Okay, it will get more complicated. Just give you an example. The global warming. Let's use global warming. Okay. Now we all are in the same world. We are in the same earth. Okay. But there's so many different ideas about global warming. Some people come out and just say, "Oh, how serious is the global warming is, and we should do something about it." But you can see another group of people coming out like saying, "Oh, it's global warming even real?" Now, but the thing is, we are in the same earth. So why is there a differential in why is there difference in analyzing or interpreting data? Okay, so this difference will cause the conflict. Okay, it's not the data itself that it's the problem, but how we as a person that handle the data is the issue. Okay, so these are the causes of conflict. Now I'm just going to show you a more visual slides to show you that what happens to the conflict and what is underneath it, what you cannot see about a conflict. All right, so what you can see is on top, okay, on the surface of water, and what you cannot see is below the surface of water. So when a conflict happens, what you can see is that the event or where the frictions happen. Okay, and then you can see the interactions. Interactions are people talking nicely to each other, or are they yelling at each other? Okay, and then you can see in the end what happened, the consequences. Now, from the start to the end, what you cannot see is that what is below the water. Okay, it could be environmental pressures or the external factors. Like if I'm giving a more extreme example, it would be natural disasters. Okay, or the fragile relationship or identities of the people involved in the conflict. It could be emotions, interests, different needs, values, and different agendas, beliefs, perspectives, priorities, and personalities. Okay, and we look at a wider society. You might find structure, culture, system, and power that is indirectly causing the conflict. These all the things that it's hardly able to see if we don't see it properly. Okay, so there's so many factors that are affecting the conflict. So here, I'm just going to give you a very little conclusion is that if you look carefully at all the factors, there are some factors that cannot be changed or you cannot change them easily. Look at culture, look at systems, look at structures, look at identities. These are the things that it's so difficult to change or not able to change. Okay, so we can see here, if this is the factor for conflict, then some conflict cannot be resolved. Okay, it's not your fault, and maybe it's not the other person's fault. It's just like that because it's difficult to change. All right. Now, okay, before I move on to the resolution part, do you have any questions? Okay, I'm looking through the comment section. Hi, everyone. So there's a lot of students here. So I try to use examples that suitable for students. Okay. No, I didn't see any questions, so I will go on. If you have questions, just feel free to drop in. I will say it from time to time, okay? Now, let's continue to conflict resolution. Okay, just now we are talking about conflict. What is conflict? What's the causes of conflict? Now I'm going to talk about how to deal with conflict. Okay, the fancy name of dealing with conflict is conflict resolution. What it means that it's the process which two parties, two or more parties, reach a peaceful resolution. They come to a satisfying solution, okay, through various ways. Okay, I'm going to introduce what ways they can use. Uh, Here, okay, these are the ways that they can use during the conflict resolution. Okay, so I'm going to into it one by one. If you find I'm talking too fast or too slow, please also put it down in the comment. I will try to speed up or slow down according to your needs. Okay, now let's go into the first one, avoiding. Okay, avoiding, like what it says here, you ignore or withdraw from the conflict itself. Okay, now when it's suitable to use this is that when all the people in the conflict feels that this conflict is not important, so you ignore that conflict. Or another example that is useful, okay, it's suitable to use avoiding, is that when something more urgent came up. Okay, something more urgent that is more important, that you need to do that conflict first before coming back, so you postpone your conflict now. Okay, that's also one style of avoiding. Another one is that when in the face of danger or emergency, okay, that time when you will withdraw from the conflict to for your safety. Okay, that's avoiding styles. Let's move to competing styles. Okay, like what it says there, it's one person is trying to win. Okay, one person is trying to pursue their ideas at the expense of the other. Okay, it sounds very bad. Okay, it sounds like bullying. One person have to dominate all, but it also very useful in some cases. Okay, it's not all bad. Now, when is it useful? During emergency cases. Okay, like you have fire. Okay, you need firefighter to put out the fire. You cannot have two firefighters stand there and talk and discuss like who should put out the fire. Okay, so in this case, competing is very good because one person instructs it all. Okay, for emergency cases, competing might be your best resolution. Okay, and then let's move on to accommodating. Okay, where one party gives in to another. It's very similar to competing, but the difference is that one party gives in willingly, whereas competing, you feel like maybe you feel like you're being forced, but accommodating is not. You give up willingly. Now, when do you give up willingly? Maybe in a group assignment or group discussion, you feel that the other person have better idea. Okay, it's better than yours. Then I willingly give up my idea to follow another person's ideas. So this is accommodating. Okay, so if you're trying to use accommodating in your conflict resolution and halfway you feel like you're not willing anymore, okay, you in the start you're willing to follow the other person because their ideas are better, but now not anymore. Okay, at this point of time you might want to discuss with your team to change your style. Okay, because accommodating only works when people gives up easily, gives in to another people easily. Okay, if it's not, then you might want to consider different other styles. Okay, now let's go to compromising. Compromising also very similar. Everyone gives up a little. Okay, that is a benefit of using this style because it saves time. Okay, why it saves time? Because we don't go very deep into the conflict issue. We don't go into the feelings. We don't go into the history. We're just trying to solve the issue. Okay, so everyone will come together and then we'll talk about can we do this? Can we do this? Straight away to the end point. Okay, there's no We're not going to hear from everyone. We're not going to deeply discuss why is this, why is that. No, you just jump straight to the end. Is this okay? Just ask everyone, is this okay? Is this okay? Just that. Okay, compromising. Everyone gives up a little and very fast. Okay, so because it's too fast, okay, because it's too fast, so one of the downside of it is that sometimes it didn't get to the core of the conflict. Okay, you didn't really solve the main issue there. Okay, maybe you have one main issue, a lot of different small conflicts covers up. Everyone is arguing about all small little things, but there's still one core issue that is uh, not found, or maybe not aware of. Okay, maybe you are aware of but not dealing with it. So that's the downside of compromising. Okay, now let's see collaborating. Now collaborating, it's what we say as the gold standard, or the way we find win-win situation. So what we do here is that people come together, sit together, we listen from everyone, and then we brainstorm the solution. This is collaborating. Okay, we come up with a solution together. Now, compromising, it's you already have the solution but you give up a little. But collaborating is nothing. You just come together and create a solution together. Okay, so the good thing is that if you do it successfully, everyone will trust each other more in the end. They understand each other more in the end. Okay, but if you're there's a one downside of collaborating is that it uses a lot of time, because you have to listen from everyone. Okay, you have to sit together, brainstorm, create a solution that everyone feels okay. Okay, so it takes time. If you have more time, I think collaborating might be a good choice. If you have time and you have the ability to do it. Okay, so something to bear in mind. Everyone, so everything has their own good and bad. Okay, there is a situation where they can use this style and not use this style. Okay, now let me scroll through the comment section and see, is there any questions for me? Okay, I have a do we have a question? No. Okay, let me move on. Okay, I have a little link here. You can snap a picture of it if you would like to know more details about these 5 styles or techniques or the common behaviors. Okay. Now, next. So coming up next, I'm going to talk about the effectiveness of resolving conflict. Now, these are the conditions that helps you for more effective conflict resolution. Okay, what does it mean here? You have to not to do all this, but you have to be aware of all this. Okay, in order for you to better use the conflict resolution styles, to better use the collaborating styles, or better use the compromising styles. Okay, so you might understand better when I go on. So let's look at the first one. Be aware and respect differences. Okay, so there's one limitation of this whole concept, the whole conflict resolution process. It's that it's based on respect. Okay, if there's no respect, there is no conflict resolution. Okay, maybe there is, but it's very difficult. Okay, so try avoid using disrespectful words and action. You might even solve the problem faster. Okay, now the second one, manage stress quickly while remaining alert and calm. Staying calm, and then I can accurately read and interpret verbal and non-verbal communications. Okay. Um, Let me go to number 3 before I elaborate more. Be conscious of your emotions and behavior, because when you are stable, you can communicate your needs without threatening, intimidating, or punishing others. Okay. Now, conflicts triggers intense emotion. Could be anger, could be disappointment. Okay, it it triggers emotion. So if you are not comfortable with your emotion, or you are not able to manage your emotion or your stress in time, it might take longer for you. It might take longer for you to do the conflict resolution, okay, to deal with the conflict, and you might take longer time than you think. All right. And then let's go to number 4. Pay attention to the feelings being expressed as well as the spoken words of others. I'll come back to this later on. There's a slide dedicated to it. All right. Okay. Now, this is another 3 condition. Okay, I pulled this up from a book. From the source is down there. Okay, but from the book Conflict Resolve: A Critical Assessment of Conflict Resolution by Ellen. Okay, so this person come up with this concept. Okay, conflict resolution can only happen when these 3 things happens. Okay, 1, volition. Are you willing to deal with the conflict? Are you willing to sit down with other people to deal with this conflict? Second one, opportunity. Do you have the opportunity to deal with it? Opportunity means, do you have the time? Do you have the resources? Do you have the platform to even do this? Okay. And then 3 is capacity. Now, the ability to deal with the conflict. Can we communicate properly? Or can we be respectful throughout the session? Okay, only if these 3 presents, conflict resolution can go on. Okay, now okay, so this is the main part of today's talk. Okay, I'm going to go spend a bit more time on this one. So what is the strategies that can help you to better support effective conflict resolution? We know what is conflict. We know the styles of the conflict resolution. We know the conditions of the conflict resolution. Now, these are all the little things to help you do better in conflict resolution, in dealing with conflict. Okay. Now, in the beginning, we said miscommunication is one of the most common causes of conflict. So in this part, I just gonna break it down for you for this communication styles. Okay. Okay. Now, the first strategy is that you need to decide to listen. Okay, you're not pretending to listen. You sit there and listen. You decide to listen. Why is that? Because their opinions are very important to you. Their opinions are the source of the conflict. So you need to be there and listen to them. If it's very important to them, you need to recognize this. Okay. Now here, recognizing doesn't mean agreeing. Okay, this is important. Remember that recognizing what people are saying does not mean you are agreeing with them. Okay. Now, I think we all know what are the good listening habits. So I'm gonna show some bad listening habits here. Could be rushing a speaker, becoming distracted, interrupting, daydreaming, or only pretending to pay attention. Okay, these are all the bad habits you might want to be aware of. Okay, so I'm gonna go a bit more detail on what is listening. What is actually listening? The first time I see this Chinese character word is in my studies, in a textbook, in one of my studies days. Okay, so I find it easy to understand and very clear. So just going to share them with you. So what is listening? You use your ears to listen what is being said by the others. Use your eyes to observe the non-verbals, the body language, eye contacts, okay? And then you use your heart, okay, to feel authentically, to listen authentically what the other person is saying. And then lastly, akin to the human body, it's to here I'll say it as a brain, okay? And then you use your brain to try to compile everything, analyze everything, and then you come up with a decision. This is listening. Okay? Now, this is listen. And then, what's the next step of listening? Okay, when you listen, and from time to time, you can choose to reflect on what is being said. This is the second strategy. You can paraphrase what you have heard, and throughout the process, please do not make judgment. Okay, if you don't understand anything, you have to ask. Okay, because sometimes assumptions and biases can cause conflict. Okay, if already have conflict, if there's assumption and biases, it's even more complicated. Okay, it makes things more complicated. Now, how do you do that? How do you reflect of what is being said? Just going to show you examples. Now, there's two persons here, Bill and Claire. They are in a group. They're going to do a group assignment. Okay, so imagine scenario. Bill said, I think it's better to do it this way. And Claire said, I have a different idea. I think we should do da here. And then Bill asked, why? That doesn't fit the question. We're supposed to be answering da. So what you have said earlier, maybe it doesn't seem to fit here. And then Claire said, how is that so? It doesn't make sense, really make sense to me. And then the conversation continues. And then next, Bill might be explaining like why it's the answer, why is Claire's answer doesn't answer the question. Okay. Now, after Bill explains, it is a very good point or time for Claire to make a reflection of what is being said. Okay. Now, Claire can say, you have mentioned earlier this doesn't fit the topic because the question is asking about da. From your side, it's important to address da. So it will be better for us to put this here. Am I getting it right? Okay, this is the first example. Let me go to the second example before I elaborate more. So the second example is that conversations continue, and up to a point, Bill said, I am worried that this will affect our marks. Okay, so how can Claire respond? Okay, when other people is expressing their feeling and you feel like you want to answer to their feelings, you can do a reflection here. Like, oh, that sounds scary. Results are important, right? Okay, so these are the two examples I'm giving here. Notice the similarity here. Okay, in both examples, okay, you point out what is important to that person. Okay, point out what is important to that person. Now, I think it feels good to being understood, being heard by other people. So the major thing here is to try to identify what is important to the other person. Okay, what's important to the other person, and then you try to say it out and ask them, is that right? Okay, you can also invite them to tell you more. Now, why like this? Because you are trying to show that you understand and you care to understand. Okay, so you try to ask and then identify to understand. Now, that is a very common thing here. What if I get it wrong, like from the start? Okay, like for this example, result might not be important for Bill. So what Bill answer next is that, oh no, I don't think results are important. So what if you get it wrong? Okay, it's okay. It's an opportunity for you to ask more to identify what is the issue there. Okay, sorry, it's not identify what's the issue there. To try to clarify and try to understand from Bill's point of view. Okay. Uh, okay. Now, I used to get questions on, is there a specific SOP on how to use this reflect? How to, is there a specific time that you can do reflection or paraphrase things? Okay. The set answer is that there's no specific SOP, but by seeing the two examples earlier, and I think there's two parts where you can put in or practice this one. It's when people explains to you the steps of the steps of the question, okay, or people spend a lot of time talking, explains about a specific questions to you. Now, to try to understand, to make sure that you understand, you paraphrase it. You repeat with your own words what is being said. Okay, like the example here. So after Claire, Bill is going to explain what why Claire's answer doesn't fit the questions. So Bill will spend a lot of time explain to Claire. Okay, so Claire want to make sure she understands, so she use her own words to uh, repeat what is being said. So you mentioned earlier, this one doesn't fit this one. You said it's important to address this. So it's better for us to use this for as the answer. Am I getting it right? Okay. So by using this way, okay, by using this way, you will be able to know you are getting it right or not. Okay, if you get it wrong, try again. Okay, that's no other shortcut. You get it wrong, try again. If you get it right, it's good. You can move on. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the third strategy. Oh no, let me go back. Sorry, guys. This one. Well, this, you cannot learn this overnight. It's difficult to learn this overnight. Okay, this require a lot of practice in order for you to get the gist of it. At first, it feels like awkward and it feels funny to use all this strategy. But after a while, you practice it, it becomes smoother. And because you know where you should insert what and where you should not. Okay. Please remember to not use this strategy after every sentence that the other people say. Okay. If not, if it feels like you keep repeating what people are saying, it feels like a parrot. Okay. So no, there are certain times that is suitable for this strategy. Like for example, when just now, when people explains a lot to you and you try to make sure that you understand that. Okay, that's one. And okay, okay. The third strategy: be concrete but flexible. Now, how do you to do that on at the same time? Concrete and flexible at the same time. Now, what you can do is that you can try to speak your interest instead of your position. Okay, let me show you what is interest and position. Now, okay, position is saying that what they want, but interest is saying that why they want. Okay, let me give example. Using the same example, Bill and Claire. Now, if Bill is using a position stand, then Bill will be saying, oh, I want this question to have this answer. I want that question to have that answer. That is position. If Bill use interest stand, so Bill will be saying, I think we should use this answer to put under this question because this question is asking about this and it's important to include blah blah blah. Okay, so Bill is explaining why they should use the answer here. Okay, so position is just straight away to the end, like what I want, da da da. But interest, they are trying to explain why they want it. That is a difference. Okay, being you tell people your interest, people can understand it easily, and therefore communication can happen. Okay, instead of conflict, right? So let me move on to I statement. Okay, I think this is also very popular. These days, I see a lot on social media using I statement. What does it mean by using I statement? You speak about yourself and not the other party. Now, this is the steps. Okay. Now, I'm just going to give example to you. Now, how do you really use I statement? There's 4 steps. 1, I feel. And then at the back, you insert feeling words like upset, sad, disappoint. It can also be positive one, happy, excited, okay, something like that. Now, I feel, I'll give an example. I will use a disappointed now. I feel disappointed, okay. Second one, when, okay. When, at the back, you describe the situation, but please remember to avoid using you. Okay, why avoid using you is because you feel like you are blaming the others. That's why we try to avoid using you. Okay, so in this case, I will say I feel disappointed when I felt like I was being left alone. Okay, that's 2. Number 3, because explain how the feelings affects you. Okay, because I give some examples down there. It's important to me, it hurts my feelings. Okay, so I feel disappointed when I was when I felt I was left alone. Because sorry guys, I feel disappointed when I felt being left alone because it's important to me, okay, to talk to people. Now 4, I would like to, you can suggest your solution. Okay, for example, I felt disappointed when I felt being left alone because it's important to me. I would like to have a conversation about this. Would you consider to block your time on Saturday to talk with me? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps. Okay, another example. If you are doing assignments, group assignments, I feel upset when I was not responded to because it's important to me. Because assignments is important to me, I would like to talk to you, or I would like to spend some time with you, okay, to find out if there's any issue that I can help. would you consider talking to me? Okay, this is I statement. This is very similar to the second strategies, like reflect of what is being said. Reflect of what is being said is that you try to use your own word to repeat, and for this one, you are trying to express yourself. Okay, this one is more towards your side. Reflection of what is being said is more towards what they said. Okay, now I statement is what I say. You are taking responsibility for your own feelings and your own behavior and try to express it to the other person. Okay, now similar to second one, it's very awkward when you first use this one. Okay, it's very awkward because it feels like a SOP. But if you get used to it, after practice and practice and practice, you get used to it, you will get better at it. Okay, it doesn't feel awkward anymore later on. Okay, now since practice is important, I would love you to snap a picture of this. Okay, these are the scenarios, some scenarios that you can practice I statement on. Okay, there's no one right answer. Okay, it all depends on the situation and how the people involved feels. Okay, so how do you know it's appropriate to use that I statement? You check with yourself. You read aloud your I statement loudly. When you hear it, do you feel offended? Or do you feel angry when you hear your own I statement? If yes, then you might want to consider to change some wording to make it sound better. And you feel like it's okay, it didn't offend you, it sounds okay, then you can use that I statement. It might be appropriate. Okay. Now do snap a picture of this. You can try this and then put your answer down in the comment section. We can share it with each other. Due to time, I have to move on. Just to add one thing, I'm not sure if there's a lot of employees or employers in here. Okay, because I statement starts with I feel, right? I statement start with I feel. So a lot of time people think that it's not suitable to use in workplace because at work, who cares how you feel, right? Okay, but the thing is, people cares how you feel, even though you cannot change what decision has made by them. Okay, decision is made, but you're feeling not happy about it. It's okay to use I statement at this time. You might not able to change the end decision, but the very least that we can do to each other is that we can acknowledge the feeling. Okay, we acknowledge and recognize the feelings. All right. Yep. Just don't want to discourage people at work to not use I statement because it's very useful. Now let's go on to the fifth strategy. Focus at the present. Now, it's for the people who have to always work together, okay? Be it classmates or your workmates, okay? Maybe you have conflict from time to time. If you have conflict now, please focus on the conflict now and not the past conflict. Why is that? Because, like I have mentioned earlier, it's about the assumptions and the bias, okay? If you're putting the assumption and the bias from the past to now, you will only make the conflict even more complicated. So focus what is now, okay, the current situation. So you can see the current situation more clearly, more appropriate, okay? Now, sixth one, the practice 24/7 rule. Okay, so the first 24 hours, it's for you to cool down, okay? If the conflict is a bit heated, okay, someone get angry, someone disappointed, someone is so sad, okay, give your team 24 hours to cool down time, okay? But please come back within 7 days to deal with the conflict. Now, why is that so? Now, first 24/7, like we have mentioned earlier, emotion affects conflicts. Okay, how we deal with conflict. All right, so cool down is important. And then why come back 7 days? Because through time, okay, time can change a lot about a conflict. For example, maybe a different thing comes in, you might not able to focus on your conflict anymore. Therefore, it's important to come back as soon as possible. Okay, now this thing might works or might not works. Okay, if the task you are doing, you have to hand in your assignment within 24 hours, you only have few hours left, then maybe this one doesn't work. Okay, so it depends on the situation and depends on the people involved. Okay, you choose what strategy to use, because not all strategies suitable in all situations. All right. Okay, now okay, because of time I will move a bit faster. Okay, so we have already talked about 6 strategies. And decide to listen, you reflect what's being said, be concrete but flexible, use I statement, focus on the present, and practice 24/7 rule. Okay, now I don't think conflict resolution ends when you're done dealing with the issues. Okay, when the issues, conflict, settle, but I don't think it finished there. A lot of time, individuals are left with their own emotions to deal with. For examples, let's say in avoiding situation, it doesn't really matter like what the issue is. Is it you're going to postpone it and then come back to the conflict later on, or you just withdraw from it. Okay, the idea is that your ideas are being ignored. Okay, your maybe your effort is being ignored at this point of time. More or less, you will feel a bit upset about it. Now, with all these feelings, emotion, this upsetness, what do you do with it? Okay, what do you do with it? Now, just going to share another 4 strategies that you can do after all the conflict is settled and you not feel very well with it. Okay, now, first one, take some time to relax. Okay, it's very similar to stress management. Like, you need to do something to help you to get your emotional energy out of your body. Okay, but how do you do that? Do whatever you enjoy. It could be exercising, it could be journaling, it could be talk to someone, anything that helps you to relax. Okay, why is it important? Because later on you can do some self-reflection. Why self-reflection? It's like, how do you do that? You think like the whole conflict process, the whole conflict resolution process, and think, is there something better than I can do? Or what did I learn from the past conflict? Do I talk like this? Do I use this word? Or how do I properly suggest my ideas to other people? Okay, think about all these little things. Why? Because in the future, similar things come up. You know what you can do. Okay, you won't be like so annoyed by your situation now or feel upset about the situation now. You know what you can do. Okay, so this is the important part. You take time to relax first, because if you jump straight away into reflection, you might feel even more stressful. So take some time to relax and then go back to it. Okay, now number 8, be willing to forgive. Now, the forgive here referring to 2 parts. One is forgive the other person. Second one is forgive yourself. Okay, so how does it work? Now, conflict resolution, it's a bit hard if you not willing and not able to forgive others. Okay, because like what I've said earlier, sometimes it's not about your fault or the other person's fault. It's just something, the factor is caused by something that cannot be changed easily. It could be structures or rules that you cannot control. Okay, so you forgive others for not able to understand, and forgive themselves. They also have their own sets of rules or limitations that need to follow. Okay, as for yourself, how do you forgive yourself? You need to forgive yourself for not knowing how to deal with the situation. Okay, it's your first time. Okay, it's your first time, you don't know how to deal with it, you just go do whatever you think is good. Okay, but it didn't turn out right, forgive yourself. Okay, forgive yourself because it might be the only reasons or only solution that you can use. Okay, so two parts, forgive others and forgive yourself, right? Quickly go through 9 and 10. Now, know when to let go something. Very similar to forgiveness. There are conflicts that cannot be resolved. Okay, or sometimes the style is you choose a more complicated style, or the style doesn't suit the situation. You just cannot come to an agreement, and you keep argue and argue and argue. Okay, so know when to let go something. You guys might need to re-evaluate the whole situation. Think about it. Is it worth your time? Okay, does this conflict really matters? Okay, how does it help you in this situation? Does it affect you badly? Okay, think about all this. If your answer come out, oh, it doesn't worth your time, it's okay to agree to disagree. Okay, agree to disagree, and it's okay to have different point of view. That's absolutely fine. Okay, if you find it, oh, it's something that you need to deal with, then you might want to consider change your style or change your strategy or change a different way to deal with it. Okay, so know when to let something go. If you feel like if one person want to let go and the other person doesn't want to let go, then the other person might have, the one who does not want to let go might feel a bit upset or angry or annoyed or disappointed. Go back to strategy 7. Okay, go back to strategy 7. Take some time to relax and then reevaluate your situation. Okay, if it's really you need to do something about it, okay, you might want to come up with a different strategies, okay, to talk about things. Now, okay, number 10, put conflict resolution into practice. Now, a lot of time we know, oh, we have this 5 style, we have these 10 strategies, but you're not really practicing it. Okay, some more conflict resolution, it does not like learn it overnight. It requires a lot of practice. Okay, even myself, I still need to practice each of the strategies. Okay, you have to, if you do not practice, you're hardly able to get the gist of it, and you might not able to change anything. Okay, this is I would say conflict resolution is a lifelong process. Okay, it happens throughout your life. It doesn't matter if it works. It doesn't matter if it's with your friend or with your family. Okay, it happens. Therefore, put them into practice. Okay. Okay, I'm at my last slide. Bear with me. So to keep in your mind, okay, there's no one solution. Okay, no one best solution, but there are the last best one. Okay, and the one agreed by all parties. Okay, so there's no perfect solution. You just pick the solution that is suitable for that time or for that group of people. Now, conflict resolution is all neat and polite. There is a lot of difficult conversation that need to be done. Okay, it might hurt people, but you can do it properly. Okay. Now, next, you need to go beyond blame and helplessness. It's somewhat related to the second point. So, it's very difficult for things to go on, for conflict resolution to go on when someone is playing the victim or someone is feeling very helpless. Okay, maybe due to past experiences. So it's very important to aware of this and be conscious about it. Okay, so during the conflict resolution, try to not involve in this. Okay, now a very important note to everyone: there are cases that not appropriate to use conflict resolution concept. This whole concept, like collaborating or avoiding or competing, it doesn't really make sense in some cases. Two examples that I can give: one is bullying, like cyberbullying, or the bullying that where one party is really hurt or humiliate the other part, bullying. Okay, the other part is abuse. Okay, it's not appropriate in you to use that in these two situations. Okay, this is my last slides. If you have any questions, please put it down in the comment section. I'll do a Q&A session now. So let me scroll through. Okay, what is my tip for students in order not to have conflict at all? Whoever they have to collaborate to do group work or assignment. Okay, tips. Now for tips to not have conflict at all is a bit difficult, because when students are doing group assignments and they are expressing their ideas to a certain questions, because we know that we all have different ideas due to our upbringing or what we have gone through. Our experience is all different, and what we believe is also different. So it's a little hard to not have conflict at all. So yeah, but the strategies that I've mentioned before, it all helps to smoothen it. I think communication plays a very big role here. Communication plays a really, really big role here, because sometimes due to languages, sometimes English is not the first language, and a lot of students are forced to use English because everyone in the group use English. Okay, it's only the common language that everyone understands. Therefore, they are kind of forced to use English, and sometimes the vocabulary just doesn't come out right. Okay, therefore it's really a little hard to have no conflict at all. Okay, but even you have conflict, how do you deal with it properly? I think that's a more important part. Okay, did I answer your question? Okay, if you hear this, let me know if I answer your question. If not, I might want to find a different explanation for you. Okay, a comment on Facebook by Terry Yuan. Thank you for that. Okay, thank you for that. Here. Okay, it showed up. Okay, I think this is a very important idea here. Okay, it's a very important tip to note and to be aware of. Okay, be very of the agreement by compromise. Yes, sorry, I skipped this part because I'm lack of time. Where two good competing solutions are merged into one medical solution. Okay, this is something that we all need to take note of. Okay, sometimes two solutions are just too good, but you only can have one solution. So how? Okay, thank you, Terry, and this is helpful. Now, anything else? No more? Okay, if you don't openly ask question, I have my email down here. Okay, you can email me if you don't want to openly ask question here. That's fine. I'm happy to answer for you. And before you go, can you help me with scanning this QR code? It's a feedback form. Okay, it's my first time. I would like to know, to get some feedback from you, like to improve where I can do better, or what other topics you're looking forward to. Okay, please do help me with that. I'm sorry, I'm 10 minutes over time as well. I will control my time better next time. Okay. Questions? No questions? Or maybe something you want me to give more examples or use more elaboration. Yes, no, maybe. Am I being too fast, or it's the content too complicated, or do I make it overly easy, or the design is too ugly? Anything like that? Mm. Okay, if there's nothing, then I think I will end my live session. If you do have questions that you want to ask me personally, please drop me an email. I'm happy to answer. Thank you everyone for spending time with me here. I hope I will come up with a better content or better topic next time. Okay, to meet all of you. Thank you so much and bye.